Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming today. My name is Norman Bell. I'm the proud principal here at St. Anthony Village High School, and I get to start us off with our welcome. Just thank you for all coming tonight. It's been a great service. Thank you, Jersey Mike's. Thank you, Kiwanis. Thank you, everybody, for putting this together. And we're just super proud and couldn't be happier. This is the third year, and third year is going to be the better year. Thank you, everyone.
Hello, everyone. I'm Renee Kornambi, Superintendent of Schools, and very similar to Mr. Bell, so excited to be here. Really proud to do this event. So I get to kind of welcome everyone and also give you a few little facts about homecoming or Hall of Fame here. So, and I'm not sure everyone that's out there, and I know Mr. Bell doesn't worry as much about the school board as I do, but if there's any school board members, thank you for being here, and also the Alumni Association for putting on this event. So here are the facts. So this is the 18th year of the Hall of Fame event here. There are currently 52 members of the Hall of Fame, and after tonight, it will be 54. In addition, the 12th and the 13th service to ISD 282 will be honored tonight as well. And so I would like to thank everyone for being here and let you know, so as superintendent, I get to do a lot of events like this, right? I gotta tell you though, this one is one of my favorites, and to be able to see everybody throughout the times. So thank you so much for being here, and please give a warm welcome to the president of the Alumni Association, Mary Putzel.
Hi everybody, welcome. This is super exciting. This is the most people we've ever had. Thanks for coming. I want to let you know that we will conclude our in time for a school tour with Dr. Cornay. So if you are interested, she's going to give a little twirl around the school, and we'll also be done with that in time to get down for kickoff of the homecoming game. So the first part of our program is the induction of the class of 24 to the Alumni Hall of Fame. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the selection process for that. The nominating committee is comprised of students from each decade of the school's history. So right now we have people in the committee from the 60s all the way up to the teens. During the summer months, this committee considers all the nominations that come in from the last year. The person is first eligible for nomination 10 years after they graduate. So right now we can get people from those 6 decades into the Hall of Fame. Anyone can nominate. I want you to really pay attention as we go through this and think about if you know people who are worthy of the Hall of Fame. And we know there are tons. We have some pretty awesome graduates. And we are not aware of them until people sometimes bring up to our attention the amazing things that they've done. I was not aware, even as a resident and a parent of 2 current students at the time, I got the call in 2008 that I was in it, and I said, we have a Hall of Fame? Who knew? So, and most of the time when I call people, they say the same thing. I didn't even really know. So we do have pockets. We have the 75 to 79 years have a ton, and then they hear about it, and friends hear about it, and then we get more. But right now, out of the 52 eligible classes, we have 23 that have no current members. So keep that in mind. The selection committee puts a great deal of consideration into choosing those candidates. We follow a strict set of bylaws that clearly define the criteria, and each inductee must excel in at least 2 categories. And basically the categories include personal and professional accomplishments and service to the community, including service to the St. Anthony New Brighton district after graduation. The interesting thing is an incredible wide range. I saw many of you looking at the slideshow out there. If you didn't get a chance to take a look at it, it's amazing what people who graduate from the Village High have done. When we grade our selections, we forward them to the current members of the Hall of Fame who are located around the world for an acceptance vote. So this year we had 7 nominations. We forwarded 3 that were eligible based on the bylaws, and 2 were accepted. Once that's done, we find ourselves where we are today, where we induct our people into the Hall of Fame. Before we start, I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the alumni who are here, and I'm not sure they're all on stage. Some of you might be in the audience. So please welcome, and just hold your applause, please, till the end. Is Bill McCreevy here? Right behind you, Mary. He's right behind you, Mary. Bill McCreevy from the class of 80. Joe Wall from 88. Where's Joe? There he is. Leslie Good Norton from 82 is right here. Mike Scholl, class of 78. Andrew Brewer, 2004. On behalf, is Ann here? Hartman?
She's sitting right over there.
She's sitting right over there. On behalf of Jay Hartman, our class of 1980 Hall of Fame member, welcome Ann. Emma Schlottfeld, from the class of 2013, escaped from the Jersey Mike's booth to come and be on the stage with us. And Mike Skopron, are you here?
Here.
Here he is. Right there. Boy, I gotta do more homework before I start. All right, is there anybody else who snuck in that I don't know? Okay, and then myself, Mary Kuchel. It is now our great pleasure to announce today's inductees. Each of them will be introduced and each will say a few words. Our first alumni inductee is John Wilson from the class of 77. To introduce John, please welcome Samantha Herrera Fletcher, Terry O'Reilly, and retired St. Anthony Fire Chief Mark Sitars.
Good evening. My name is Sam Fletcher, and I'm here tonight to introduce John Wilson, class of 1977. John grew up in Diamond 8 with his parents and brother. John attended St. Anthony's schools from a young age. After high school graduation, John went on to further his education with 3 college bachelor degrees: mechanical engineering from the U of M in 1986, business administration from Hamlin in 1989, and economics from Hamlin in 1989. Post-college graduation, John worked for Medtronic with the role of designing cell culture devices. His focus was on perfusion cell culture devices that pump nutrients and oxygen to cells that keep them alive. During his time at Medtronic, he was an inventor and project leader for antibody production. In 1994, John formed Wilson Wolf Corporation to create more efficient static cell culture devices. During the first couple of years, John was the co-inventor and designer of Cell Line Flask. With John's device, this meant that static cell culture devices do not need pumps to operate. In short, this device grows antibodies to fight cancer. In 1997, John formed Wilson Wolf Manufacturing Corporation, where he holds the title of founder and CEO. Its mission is to create and manufacture highly efficient static cell culture devices. In 2003, John made fundamental discoveries, one being more efficient static cell culture devices. This invention ultimately became called the G-Rex, which stands for Gas Permeable Rapid Cell Expansion. Today, as CEO and founder, John is still inventing, growing, and starting new companies. Wilson Wolf's mission is to create hope for cancer patients one G-Rex device at a time. Over the years, John has earned hundreds of patents in gas permeable cell culture devices. His largest impact on the medical world has been with the G-Rex. This device is revolutionizing T-cell therapy manufacturing by making the process far simpler and more cost-effective. There are several medical publications that mention Wilson Wolf all around the world. John has also founded 2 T-cell therapy companies by licensing cell therapy technologies from Baylor College of Medicine and bringing both companies to NASDAQ, Alavir and Marker Therapeutics. John had the privilege of ringing the bell on Wall Street during his time. Aside from his career, John started a foundation with key focus of providing local Minnesota families and individuals with pathways out of poverty and support institutions seeking to build a more sustainable future. Now let's narrow down to St. Anthony. Everyone in this room and those that live in St. Anthony have been impacted by John. If you were to have a medical emergency in the city, the St. Anthony Fire Department carries advanced life support equipment. In the fall of 22, John contributed to the startup costs of the Zoll monitor in the St. Anthony Fire Department. John has helped the St. Anthony High School golf team with equipment and green fees. With his contributions to the program, the team is able to practice at other courses besides girls golf course. John is an incredibly modest and humble person. He enjoys not having recognition. He cares about others and does whatever he can to make a difference. To name a few, John has covered medical bills for several people in the community. He covers vet bills for the Rescue Crew Animal Rescue Organization and has even sponsored a school in Africa. Dad, congratulations.
Good afternoon, thanks for having me here. My name is Terry O'Reilly, I'm the CFO of Wilsonville, so I guess that makes John my boss. But really, I look at him as more of my friend. I suppose as a CFO, you think I'm gonna come up here and tell you all about all of his business accomplishments, and Sam did a really good job of naming a whole bunch of those. You can do a Google search yourself. You can find out John and Wilson Wolf is a really big deal in the cell therapy space, both really all over the world. Products, Wilson Wolf's products are sold literally all over the world in the fight to treat cancer with T-cell therapies. So I'm gonna let you guys, you've already heard about that. You've also heard a little bit about his foundation that he formed just about 2-3 years ago, Wilson Foundation. The foundation already in its young life has already given away several $1 million in grants to support the community in some of the causes that Sam mentioned. So the thing I really wanted to tell you about, this may embarrass John, Sam alluded to this a little bit, it's not his success as a businessman, business person, not his success in philanthropy, but some of the things this guy does day to day, almost, all the time. Help he gives to people, things like medical bills, like Sam said, people with housing, education, just some advice, and things like that. John does an incredible amount of stuff, and he is the CFO and a friend and an advisor. I see this stuff that nobody ever sees. He's not getting any recognition for this, there's no tax deductions for this. Out of his own pocket, he does a lot of stuff to help people in many, many ways that's very, very impactful to them. John's got I think based on some of his background, a real soft spot for somebody who's out there working hard, trying very hard, and still finding it difficult to get through, get by in the world. And you can imagine there's a lot of people like that in the world. He helps people that have been his lifelong friends, and he helps some people he barely even knows. I mean, I'm talking mere acquaintances. He gets interested in their story, and if he thinks that they're really working hard, he's helped them. I see this literally on, I'm calling it almost a weekly basis, maybe almost daily. It's just crazy, and he does this all under the radar. He's not looking for any recognition. He just has this really unique desire to help people, and as busy as he is, he always is willing to listen to their story, and he gets really inspired by their stories. Something I've learned from John is he has this philosophy, he calls it, I always call it, all, rising tide lifts all boats. He'll call it a philosophy of abundance, or expanding the pie. He believes if he's doing good for other people, it's good for everybody, and he really believes that. So I think, yeah, he's had great success as a business person. He's been very impressive. But the thing that I think really sets him apart and makes him worthy for induction is his just these things he does to help people on an ongoing basis that he's very modest about. So I could give example after example. We don't have enough time, and I don't want to embarrass him too much. But I think it's you've got a great inductee here. I'm proud to say he's my boss. Thanks, my friend. Thank you.
My name is Mark Sitars, and I'm the former fire chief for the city of St. Anthony and a friend of John's and his family. First off, let me acknowledge that John did in fact show up. There was concern between Sam, Terry, and I that we might be referring to an empty seat. So I have a backup just in case. And I didn't want to talk to an empty seat, so I'm just going to put this puppy here, and I'm really glad you showed up, John. Oftentimes we think of the Hall of Fame and we tie it to athletics. Well, John, I've got bad news. Your athletic prowess is not why you're sitting up here. As a matter of fact, I don't even think any of us who nominated you even considered to use the word athlete in our nomination letters. Athlete or not, the committee made two great choices by putting John Wilson and David Bratland up on your wall, and I'm lucky enough to know both of them. His name may not stand out, but his actions do, and much like his name, he would have preferred to just blend in and move about his day without any of this taking place right now. However, those speaking on his behalf have a slightly different feeling on the matter. He deserves to be recognized for the person that he is. A few years ago, society was dealing with a pandemic, and it caused havoc that we all experienced. The fire department, we can't close our doors and wait for it to pass. In fact, the opposite was true. We needed to up our game even more and come up with solutions to problems that we never imagined. One area that we were affected by greatly was tied to medical calls and the response times from our advanced life support partners, the ambulances. Our fire department response times remained on average about 3 minutes from the time the call came into the fire station to when we actually arrived on scene. Ambulance response times pre-pandemic on average were about 9 minutes on arrival. During COVID, they went up to 20. Keep in mind that they have the additional drugs and equipment that we're not allowed to have. As you can imagine, this was affecting our patient outcomes in a very negative way, and it was completely out of our control, and something needed to change. This made me, the firefighters, and our patients extremely frustrated. So what can we do about it? Well, we already have folks that are paramedics on staff, but at the time, we were not allowed to have them operate as a paramedic. They had to operate as an EMT. Even though they had up-to-date training and current paramedic certification, their hands were tied. So I wanted to untie them. I sat my boss down, laid out my vision. He was fully on board, but he made it clear that it was an unbudgeted initiative and that I would have to figure that out on my own, both on the funding and the program design. Research was done, many meetings were had, various agreements were put into place, and our key partners were on board. The groundwork was laid and the infrastructure was being built, but now we needed to buy some critical equipment, medical supplies, and upgrade our patient reporting software to get this done. And there was no help from the city because this was not in the budget. We were successful in getting a large grant from the Gary Sinise Foundation and a private donation from a friend of mine, but we were still about 40% of the way from making this happen. Knowing this program was going to save lives and make a major impact in our town, I became frustrated that we could not do it. Then one day, Samantha came into my office, and with a smile, she let me know that our program was going to be moving forward with an anonymous donation. I couldn't believe that this just happened, and while I didn't want to ask a lot of questions, I did need to know more, and ultimately she filled me in, that it was John. The agreement, however, was that this needed to remain anonymous, and I kept that promise until today. While he did not have to make this donation in the program, I was told that he believed in us. He believed in the mission and the vision of it all and the potential impact that it would have on the community that he calls home. I can tell you firsthand, as can Sam, that this program has indeed made an impact, and it's saving lives. St. Anthony, resident or not, if you have a medical in our city, you will receive that higher level of care. Without John's generosity and belief in us, this program never would have happened. John has the same attitude in his work life. He's not only focusing on how he can be a part of curing cancer, but he's also creating an environment where the focus is to make cancer treatment affordable for all those who are going through that terrible experience. This is the person that he is. This is why we're standing up here, to open a small window into the life of one of St. Anthony High School's incredible alums. Not all Hall of Famers are athletes. Some are just kind, hardworking visionaries who are willing to take a chance with their belief in others, who believe in mankind and the underdog. John is that person, only he likes to do it by standing in the shadows so that he does not stand out, just like his name. Congratulations, John. I have taken so many shots at you. Congratulations, John, on this honor and the recognition of so many. You're a real finalist. Go Huskies!
Thank you all. It is my pleasure to introduce this outstanding graduate, a meaningful contributor to his community, and to induct him into the St. Anthony Village High School Hall of Fame, John Wilson.
I don't really recognize myself. I'm going to start out with this. First, thanks, everybody. Those are unbelievably kind words. But I'd like to say something about the people over here, the St. Anthony firefighters. Samantha and Chief Sitars found a lady with no pulse. This is a great story. And they kept her cool, and they literally brought her back to life. But for me, the story gets better. Of all the people in St. Anthony, that lady was Shaw Bryant, who was a family friend for decades. And that can only happen in St. Anthony because everybody knows everybody. You guys are awesome, by the way. Unbelievable. And like the St. Anthony firefighters, Terry and I work with people that are trying to help other people. Our company has an invention that helps others create groundbreaking cancer treatments. And if that makes me sound important, I'm not. Trust me. The truth is that I've never had any success on my own, not even close. Any success I've had has come from 1,000 fingerprints. And since I've lived here most of my life, 60 years, those fingerprints they come from people in St. Anthony. So I'm going to mention a few. There's not enough time for everybody. Claudia Herrera, who's a great listener. Samantha, who inspires me to do my best. Charlotte Brand, that's Char's daughter, who's like a sister to me. Frank Myers, who helped me build a house in St. Anthony. My brother Greg, he was a bad influence. He gave me a fake ID that was quickly confiscated. Hartman, Smith, Koski, and Walden families. Jim Klein, who sang on this stage in 1975. Scary. And a lot of lifelong friends are all my friends. Sherry Carlson, Renee Bremseth, Chris Rosenthal, Chris Kellewire, Barb and Dyke Johnson, Mark Jazuski, Bill O'Brien, Chuck Haig, Hall of Famer Billy McReady, Hall of Famer Mark Hess, and just too many more to name. And I want to thank the St. Anthony people that actually work with me. We have people at our company now from St. Anthony, Jeff Thompson, Brian Scoble, and John Monk. And lastly, I want to say a heartfelt word about Dave Bradlin and the Hermes family. I met the Hermes family 25 years ago when they kept getting golf balls. I was going to say up our foursome at Gross. But Gary wasn't the only long ball hitter. So was Margo and their daughters, Tiffany and Erica. They stole the show that day and became my friends for life. Eventually, Erica married Dave and all was well. Then one day, Erica was diagnosed with cancer. And there's so much more to say about that, but I'll summarize it by saying this. The memory of Erica inspires me to do everything I can to create hope for cancer patients. So you'll see my car in the parking lot late at night. And entering in the Hall of Fame at the same time as Dave has special meaning to me. And St. Anthony is the only place where things like this can happen. And most importantly, it's because everybody knows everybody, but most importantly, it's because everybody cares about everybody. St. Anthony is a great place to live. Thanks again to everybody who made this award possible.
Thanks, John. Congratulations. In addition to being on the wall, each inductee is receiving a silver challenge coin today. According to legend, challenge coins were given in recognition of great achievement as long ago as the Roman Empire. This coin, which is unique to the St. Anthony Village Halls of Fame, has a husky on its face, and it's presented to them tonight in tribute to their remarkable achievements. Alumni also get this cool Hall of Fame t-shirt. Our next inductee from the class of 1985 is Dave Browland. Here to introduce Dave is his brother, member of class of 77, Paul Browland, along with Dave Leiser and St. Anthony High School Activities Director, Dr. Troy Burnell.
Thank you, Mary. Good evening. I am Paul Bratland, and I am honored to introduce my brother Dave. Couldn't be proud. Over the past 37 years, Dave has dedicated a huge portion of his life to improving the lives of student athletes. Dave has coached in well over 1,000 basketball games. Although not done yet, Dave has coached 37 seasons of high school basketball, 26 of which were right here at St. Anthony High School. More specifically, Dave served as the St. Anthony boys basketball head coach for 18 of those years. Dave won more games as the head boys basketball coach than any other coach in St. Anthony High School history. Additionally, Dave's mentorship is extended as he conducts youth summer basketball camps and has volunteered as a coach in several seasons of youth recreational basketball. Dave continues to be the head girls basketball coach at Mounds View High School, where he led them to the sectional finals last season. One of Dave's former players is quoted as follows: "Dave was more than just your everyday coach. He was someone we all looked up to and appreciated. He cared about winning, but cared more about the players and making all of us better people in the end." In addition to coaching basketball, golf has provided another opportunity for Dave to have a positive impact on the community. If you weren't aware, Dave won the 1984 Minnesota State High School Golf Championship for St. Anthony. Something he couldn't have done without me, probably. I'll never forget that day. That was a fun day. Dave became a PGA professional and served at Edinburgh, USA for 7 years. Dave is now in his 17th year of managing Gross National Golf Course located right here in St. Anthony. In various capacities, Dave served both St. Anthony and Mounds View schools as a golf coach. In addition, Dave has taught lessons to adults, taught group lessons, and camps for kids, and managed the First Tee program in Minneapolis. That program is a program whose mission is to impact the lives of young people by providing educational programs that build character and instill life-enhancing values through the game of golf. As an added benefit for several St. Anthony youth, Dave has employed many St. Anthony students at the golf course. Dave's legacy is nicely summed up by the Mounds View High School Assistant Athletic Director, who said, "Dave Bratland has dedicated a huge portion of his life to improving the lives of student athletes through coaching. It is inspiring to watch a man give 100% effort into his community while expecting nothing in return." David, I cannot be more proud. Congratulations. John, you too. Congratulations.
Good evening.
Oh, no, I'm gonna be okay. We'll be the judge.
My name is Dave Leeser. I am the boys' head varsity basketball coach at Mounds View High School. And I'm a little surprised I was asked to speak because I'm a big part of the reason he no longer coaches at St. Anthony anymore. But I'm really honored to be here. And my first question is, I would like a dozen of those three senior pictures, because I think we can find a place for those at Mounds View in some way. As I said, I'm honored to have the opportunity to speak about Dave today. Before the 2014 season, Dave approached me about coming to Mounds View to be an assistant coach. And the reason was for family reasons, so he'd have more time to be with his family. The impact was immediate. Dave immediately bonded with our players. He has a great way of using sarcasm that just breaks down barriers with players. And if you know him, you know what I'm talking about. And he just bonded with our guys right away. And then the impact on the court was amazing too. In first 3 years, we won 22 games, 19 games, 22 games. And the third year, we had an improbable run where we beat Champlain Park in a section semifinal game. It was a huge win. If you know now, one of the players from Champlain Park played in the NBA, another one played at Duke, and we had one guy that played for St. Olaf. And we pulled that off. And he was a big reason for it. But then sometimes, as happens in coaching, genetics plays a part in it, and 2 years later, we were 5-22. And we had a rough year. Great kids, but we had a rough year. But that's when you find out, I believe, you find out so much about someone when things aren't going well. And Dave never wavered, and it was a rough year in a lot of ways. And Dave was solid as an assistant, had my back 100%. And I'd already respected him before that, but at that point, complete respect for him. And it's still something that I appreciate to this day. 2 years later, we're back to 20 wins, back on track, and then Dave accepted the position as the girls basketball coach at Mounds View. Shortly after that, though, we learned of his wife Erica's heartbreaking cancer diagnosis, and her battle, she fought like crazy. And Dave was with her the entire way. This did not surprise me for a lot of reasons. Number one, I'd seen how he is when there's adversity. And this is obviously a bigger scale of adversity than a 5-22 season. But if you know Dave, he's going to be rock solid in the moment in support. And unfortunately, Erica passed. And then he told me about an idea he had. And again, this did not surprise me. He wanted to start a foundation that he eventually called the All In Foundation. And with the goal of using his platform to give back to the community that had helped him so much and had supported him through Erica's cancer battle. And so he used the platform as a coach where his players helped raise money to help families in the Mountain View community that are also dealing with health, some sort of health issue. Now, little did I know after he told me that on September 15th, 2023, my wonderful wife, Elise, was diagnosed with cancer, stage 1 breast cancer. I'm happy to report she's in remission, she's doing great. Shortly after we learned of her diagnosis, Dave informed me, along with the Booster Club, that we would be the first family to receive the All In grant, which I could never thank him enough. It's hard enough to get a news that a loved one has cancer, but then, as you know, what comes with cancer is there's a lot of bills to pay for treatments. And the money that was raised, that he donated for us, took so much of that ease off of our plate. But that's the kind of person that Dave is. Always looking to give, always trying to find a way to teach kids, to be a positive impact. And we were just happened to be so lucky to feel that impact ourselves too. The All In Foundation continues to this day. I believe that they helped a family last week, and they've helped, how many families have you helped now, Dave? 4 families, and it continues. And it's a wonderful foundation. I know through that Erica is so proud of you. That she looks down with you with immense amount of pride. And Dave is a very proud St. Anthony Husky. And for the 7-8 years that he was my assistant, I heard all about him. And a lot of great stories. To the point that we tease him that they should probably just rename the gym the Bratland Center and put a big sign up.
Today's the first step.
Today's the first step. But you know what, I'm really happy to know today that you are as proud of him, that St. Anthony is just as proud of him, because you should be. He is an honor and a tribute to the greatness of St. Anthony Schools. He's a terrific father, terrific coach, terrific mentor for young people, and he's a great friend. So Dave, congratulations.
Hi everyone, my name is Troy Erdahl. I'm the activities director at St. Anthony Village High School. And this is some tough acts to follow, some really nice remarks so far. I do believe, Dave, that Wikipedia figured out somewhere along the way that you called the St. Anthony Gym the Bratland Center. Or maybe that's Damien Troop when he did it with the Troop Center. But for a little while it was the Bratland Center on Wikipedia. Keep telling everyone that, Dave. For those who really know Dave, they call him Jay right now. And for those who really know Dave, this could be more of a roast than anything else. Getting nervous yet, Dave? Gauchi's in the back. Palmer's right over here. They're ready. They're ready. Joking aside, this is one of the many qualities of Dave's that sets him apart as an incredible person. He has a wonderful sense of humor. And I'm honored to have this opportunity to help introduce Dave as the next inductee into the St. Anthony Village High School Hall of Fame. Dave's contributions as a standout student athlete, as a transformational coach, and a community leader have left a deep impact and imprint on his community, and he did this with Erica. During his high school years, Dave did capture the state golf title. Not many have done that at St. Anthony Village High School in any sport. And he played a key role in that 1984 basketball team that took third at state, the winningest team in school history. But that's really just the beginning of Dave's legacy, one that he will continue to write years after this recognition. As their boys basketball coach, he mentored countless young athletes along the way. And I got to see Dave change and transform too. Becoming a husband and a father truly did change Dave. With that said, what sets Dave apart is his care and total commitment to others. He was always shaping better people, not just creating and building better athletes. And there's people in the crowd today that would attest to exactly that. He's built generational relationships with those players. So many are here today. They have many great stories to share about the humor, about the good nature. He's someone that's fun to be around, but really about the care. At the end of the day, they all knew that he was there for them. Dave's athletes will tell you, he's not only a great coach, he's a wonderful person. And he showed up each day pushing them to be the absolute best they could be. Off the court being more important than on it. Outside sports, Dave contributes to the community in so many different ways as the manager of Gross Golf Course, where he's helped raise tens of thousands of dollars for local initiatives and for the community. I've learned a lot from you over the years, Dave. I hope one day that I can say my legacy is like that of yours. A legacy of integrity, mentorship, and making my community a better place. It's a privilege to be a small part of recognizing you tonight as you enter the St. Anthony Village High School Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Jane.
So one of Dave's nominators was not able to be here tonight. Fortunately for him and unfortunately for us, he's on a cruise. Was not able to make it. However, will you please play the video?
Dave, I wish I could be there with you tonight, but I'm grateful that I could send you this quick note. Dave, I've been fortunate to see firsthand the way you treat and connect with student athletes, and I see the way they respond to you. I also have seen you give extra time and energy as you realize that for some, you may be the best adult influence they have in their life. So many have benefited from the fact that your care about their well-being and their future is genuine. For me, I'm particularly proud to have a brother who gives so much of his life to improving the lives of others without expecting anything in return. I know Mom, Dad, and Erica are beaming with pride. Congratulations to you, Dave, and thanks for letting me join in. Have fun tonight, you definitely deserve it.
Now his brother Mark Bratland and he did a lot of work to get us that video from that cruise ship. I am now thrilled to recognize this outstanding graduate, a meaningful contributor to our school district and his community, and to induct him into the Hall of Fame. Dave Bratland.
John, where's ours?
The ink's not dry.
They said they weren't comfortable making those remarks. For those of you sitting in the back row, don't feel bad because that's where I like to sit in class, and Wilbur brought me today, so there's hope for all of you. Listening to Mary, and one thing that kind of stands out to me is that after 10 years, you're eligible to be in the Hall of Fame, and so we might as well talk about the elephant in the room right now and ask each other, why in the hell did this take 39 years to do? So I'm honored to be here, but whoever decided I should go behind John Wilson, we're going to have some words after. You know, I don't know all the 52 previous inductees, but I know John. And for me, what he does, I mean, he's here. I'm not sure who's in second place, but it's not John. So he's amazing. Thank you so much. So. First of all, I want to thank those who nominated me. My friend Mike, whose idea this was. Those that wrote letters for me. So thank you very much that you're finding me worthy of this great honor. Thank you to Mary and the Hall of Fame Committee for agreeing with them that I'm worthy of this. It's an incredible honor for me. Again, congratulations to John, to Mr. Abrahamson, who was my principal at Wilshire Park. And when I walked up to him, he didn't recognize me. And there's good reason for that, is that he never had to call me into his office when he was my principal. So there's no reason why there should be any facial recognition whatsoever. And then to the Munchell family, for Rick, I had the pleasure of coaching both Paul and Matt, and their dad was a wonderful father. He loved St. Anthony, and just an all-around great guy, so I'm really was excited to see that, so congratulations to you guys. You know, I want to start off by saying that I love St. Anthony, and growing up here, man, I wouldn't trade it for anything. You know, we're such a unique community. Part of it is because of the geographical size of it, that when we were kids, everything that we wanted was either within walking distance or just a short bike ride away. You know, the Village Shopping Center at that time had great stores. We loved going down there. And Apache Plaza, I'm sure John can attest, was off the charts great. You know, Central Park, the football fields, the baseball fields, we had everything we wanted. It was just a short bike ride away. So growing up in St. Anthony, I can't imagine having to have grown up in a different community. It was great. I had great neighborhood friends, and you know, we were honestly during the summer from mid-morning until the sun went down. Every night we were outside, and we were everywhere. And I mean, we did it 7 days a week until every year that day after Labor Day would show up, and these schools would make us come back. And you know, we didn't think that was really fair because we were having a hell of a good time. And we had followers coming, and we had football games to play. So we weren't real happy with St. Anthony High School and schools at that time. So, but in all seriousness, really what makes St. Anthony great, it really is the schools. And, you know, I could rattle off over a dozen names of teachers I had in the past that I have such respect for, and, you know, the names are just so vivid in my memory. In fact, I'm sorry to say, but, you know, Miss McClintock, Kyle McClintock's here today, and she was one of them. So I went up and made sure I talked to her. And, you know, Gary Palm, I can't thank Gary Palm enough for, you know, taking a chance on a 20-some-year-old kid and giving me the keys to his basketball program. He taught me so much, and I'm sure he took a lot of phone calls my first few years that he was nice enough not to burden me with, because as was mentioned earlier, as Troy was nice enough to mention,
that he saw changes in me, especially after I became a husband and a father. So all of you guys, and I'm humbled that I have a lot of former players here right now, and I have some from my really early years, that I'm going to say right now, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for what I put you guys through. And, you know, I changed after. I'm sure there's a lot of you that cannot believe that I'm coaching girls high school basketball. Because it's a different animal. So, either, you know, so I apologize, and I figured you're here because maybe your short-term memory, your long-term memory's gone, and you forgot how bad I was to you guys. So, I apologize to you guys. But thank you so much for being here. So, I mean, the people here are wonderful. You know, what was important to me, I had great coaches. Dick Pearl was my high school golf coach for 4 years, and for any of you that know him, he's just such a fun guy, and he made it so enjoyable to be on the golf team. And you know, when you're a golf coach, you know, you don't do a heck of a lot. I mean, he was a chaperone. He got us to our matches, and the great thing about Pearl was he had such a great relationship with all these private school coaches. Well, these private schools played country clubs, and so when he would set a match against those schools, he was smart enough to do what we always play away. So man, we got to play Windville Country Club, Whiteberry Yacht Club, we got to play Somerset, we got to play the Minnetonka Club, all these great courses. But back then, the coaches couldn't coach during the match. So he would basically dump us off on the first tee, and he and the other coach, they'd go play the back nine. So Pearl was playing great country clubs too. But he was great. You know, but more important to me was my basketball coach, Mark Gauchi, who is sitting here today, and I'm really honored that he's here. You know, I think outside your own family, you know, you have that one person in your life that makes the biggest difference to you. And for me, it's Gouch. And, you know, kind of like what my brother Mark said, we knew we had a great coach because he worked hard for us. He wanted us to have success, but we knew we had a friend in him. And we admired him so much, and he had an immediate impact on myself and a lot of my teammates. And, you know, we played hard as a team and as players. And I'm convinced that we played hard for him, because we wanted him to have more success than we did ourselves. And, you know, and we were very successful. I think in my 3 years I had him as a coach, if I'm not mistaken, I think we were like 54-11. And, but he was more successful off the court. You know, he was a master of building relationships, and he did that with us. And, you know, I had such great admiration for him that when I had the opportunity after high school to coach with him, that's not anything I would ever have said no to. It was awesome just to be able to hang around with him for, you know, 7, 8 more years, whatever it was, and just to learn from him. And really, it's very rare that 39 years after high school that you can consider your coach a good friend of yours, but he is. So he's really the reason why I'm standing here today, to be honest. He had that much of an impact on me and led me in this direction. So then after, when he left St. Anthony to go to Creighton, which was his home, again, Palmer, to be honest, I didn't even interview for the job. All of a sudden, he was on the phone, I was sitting in his office, and whoever he was talking to, he said, well, I'm sitting here with Dave Bratman, our boys' head coach. Well, I haven't even accepted the job yet. So Palmer put faith in me, and I greatly appreciate it. And I learned a lot from him my first years. And then my other boss, Troy, I learned an incredible amount from Troy. When he came in as the athletic director, and I think I told Dave Leeser this, that I always felt like I was a smarter coach after every conversation I had with Troy. He's an amazing athletic director, amazing person. St. Anthony is so fortunate to have him, and I was very fortunate to have two wonderful athletic directors to work for. So, I'm going over my time limit, I'm sorry. But John only went 6 minutes and 50 seconds. So I tried to be quick. But really, it was my goal as a head coach to provide the same experience for my players as he gave to me. I wanted them to have the same feeling about this basketball program and about their coach as I had when I left. And you don't connect with every kid, but you sure as heck try. And so I was fortunate to coach here, like I said, for 26 years and 18 years as a head coach, and I was proud. I was proud to be the head coach of that program. So those years I wouldn't trade for anything. Two more things. One thing I want to say is, I'm really proud of how our family name is remembered here. This obviously will last forever, and I'm really proud of that. And I think my family has a history of putting others first, before even thinking about yourself. And I think we've always done so without even hesitating or thinking about it. And in my opinion, that's a testament of your character. The kid that my parents did it, my dad did it. My dad's name is on a banner hanging in the gym downstairs because he and a bunch of his buddies, Bob McDaniel's here today, Stan Allen's here today, were founding members of the Sports Boosters group. And I can't imagine how much work that took. And they didn't do it for themselves, they did it for others. They did it for the kids in the community and the families in the community. And then my dad serving on the school board for years. He didn't do it for himself. He took time away from the family and gave back to these schools. And then both my parents were avid, dedicated volunteers to this marching band program in Roger Bjorkman for a really long time. And they would take time out of their summers. They would take weeks out of their summers traveling across the country with the marching band as they competed in parades. And they always gave back, and indirectly they taught us to give back, without even saying it. And then, so with this and that, and then, lastly, as we've talked about Erica, my son Tripp is wearing the boys varsity alternate home jersey, and it has her initials on it. And she's the only person in the history of St. Anthony High School to be given such an honor. So, sorry. But very deserving that she's on there because, she did the same. She put others ahead of herself, and, there were a couple times when she was going through treatment where she would hear of something happening to someone else. And she said to me immediately, she said, well, how can we help them? And I'm looking at her like, are you nuts? We got enough going on.
Yeah.
But that's just who she was. And so those initials, on that jersey, represent, her strength, fight, positivity, because she was always positive. So that's the best of all, to have that. So you want to see Tripp is wearing it right now. So I made him wear it today. So it's an incredible honor to have that. And then lastly, like Dave Leeser mentioned, what we're doing at Mountains View, I'm super proud of. And we've helped 4 families right now whose families are battling cancer. And we just helped one 6 days ago. We gave the family a really nice donation of a mom who's battling for a 3rd time. Dad passed away 11 years ago. They've got 3 kids. And so it was a no-brainer for us to help because we had the funds to do so. And the best part for us is I'm not involved in it. Our players in our program, they went to their house, to the mom, and gave her flowers, a card, and there was a really solid donation of a check inside that card. And so for our players to see how important it is to support others, and the effect, that face-to-face effect, so to see what it did for that mom is priceless for those kids, and that's what they're learning. They won't remember anything about basketball after they graduate, but they're gonna remember a lot about that, and it's wonderful, and we're gonna continue to do so. So I'm really proud that we're doing that, and that we're giving these kids that opportunity. So thank you for everyone who thinks I should be up here today. Again, the other inductees, and again, whoever put me behind John. That simply wasn't fair to do to me today. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to recognize the members of the Hall of Fame Selection Committee and others that contributed to this evening. Besides myself, members include Michael Dunn, Andrea Horston, Christine McCullough, Mike Scholl, Eric Brever, Kim Johnson, Ruth Ann Marks, Emma Schlottfeld, Bonnie Brever, Mary Claire Johnson, and Zach Siggelko. All right, so now we turn to another part of our program, recognition not of alumni, but of service to the Independent School District 282. Again, anyone is able to nominate. Here are the criteria. Nominees are selected based on their displays of originality and creativity in making outstanding contributions to the St. Anthony New Brighton Public Schools, or their impact on raising the level of awareness of the school district through distinguished achievement and excellence. Nominees who are selected will have exhibited the highest standards of ethical conduct and moral character and may not be currently employed by the school district. They also may not be alumni of the school because we have an alumni category. Tonight's first inductee for service to the district is Rick Munchell. Sadly, as most of you know, Rick passed away in 2022. His wife Linda and sons Matt and Paul are here on the stage to accept the award in his honor, and I have the privilege of starting to talk about him. Rick and his wife Linda moved to St. Anthony Village in September of 1980. They lived in the same house across the street from Wilshire Park until Rick's passing. They raised 3 children. They came up through the St. Anthony schools, including Matt, class of 99, Paul of 2001, and Katie of 2004. Rick's wife Linda also worked for the district for many years in various support roles. Rick volunteered countless hours for the sports boosters and band organizations and often filled needs in the district when they were identified. For example, in the 80s, Rick identified that there was no option for learning basketball for first and second grade kids. So he started a program for those kids in the first and second grades. Originally, the program was in the old community center, and then it was moved to Wilshire Park on Saturday mornings. That program still exists today, nearly 40 years later, under the name Little Dribblers. Rick became the voice of the Huskies in 1992. At the time, students would do the public address announcing in the stadium for games, and it was realized they needed a true announcer. Rick volunteered, and the rest is history. The story goes he would have given up the job to any other parent, but no one volunteered. Seeing the same need in 1996, athletic director Gary Palm asked Rick to do public address announcing for boys and girls basketballs. All in all, Rick was the voice of the Huskies for over 30 years, and he loved every minute of calling student names or the loudspeaker at football and basketball games. Many alumni have related how much Rick saying their name at an event meant to them. 2 generations of kids got to experience that joy. I did not know Rick personally, but I sure knew his voice. I now introduce Andrew Brever, who did know Rick, to say a few words.
Good evening, my name is Andrew Brever. I'm a 2004 graduate. Just want to say thanks, congratulations to all the people up here tonight, especially Dr. Abrahamson. I've not seen him in probably 31 years, I think. And Dave's point, he did remember me, so I don't know what that says about my career. Just one quick word about Dave Brown, too. I was lucky enough to play basketball for Dave back in 2003, and I saw Mitch Schindler, I think, is out here as well. Quick story about Dave, well, Dave's stories, but we had a ragtag team that year, and I know that sometimes language can get a little blue on the court. Dave walked in practice the next day after a pretty intense practice, and he looked pretty glum. He said, guys, Erica stopped me last night. She was in practice. She was not happy with the language. We either clean it up or we're running. Every time there's a curse word, we're running. So, after about 5 minutes of watching us practice, I think we're on that line. But Dave was on that line too. So I think I heard him curse more often than anyone else. Doing laps, and about 2 laps afterwards, Dave was gone. Look in the back, and there was Dave. I think he was on his back, gasping for air, but pretty white. Glad you made it out. That's also the guy that I seen here told me, Andrew, you'd be a really good player for us in about 2 years. So, thanks for that vote of confidence. I'm really here to talk about Rick Munchell today. Rick was the voice of the Huskies for over 30 years. I'm absolutely honored to be here to talk a few things about my memories about Mr. Munchell. And I say that senses are intertwined so much with our memory that the slightest exposure to some stimulus can set off the most vivid memory. Sometimes if you have an apple pie, it can remind you of childhood holidays, or the crunching of new snow underneath a boot can remind you of childhood days in the snow. I tell you what, for decades in St. Anthony, few things are more ingrained in my mind than Rick Munchell's voice come over the loudspeaker on a cold, chilly fall night. For decades, his voice meant that the week was over, and that everything was a distant memory. We were once transported to a different world. Behind the microphone, Rick Munchell actually lived a life full of adventure and of service. I was lucky enough to go through school with Rick's kids, from Wilshire Park all the way through high school. As a result, I got to meet Rick at a young age. You see, for many around my age, Rick's basketball lessons at Wilshire Park were the first exposure to that sport for hundreds of St. Anthony's youth. I wish I would have listened a little more, so I probably would have been as good as Matt or Paul or Katie over there, but Dave can attest to that too. But he left an indelible mark on those he coached, inspiring attributes that would make up a quality person, things like accountability, respect, and hard work. It wasn't long after that, sometime in the early 1990s, that Rick started volunteering as a public address announcer for the football and basketball teams for the high school. And for the next 30 years, I don't think he missed a single game. In the cold and the heat and the rain, snow and sleet, as the Twins losing in the first round of the postseason, Rick was always there. What I didn't realize is that when he wasn't there, Rick journeyed around the globe, going far off places like Saudi Arabia. I mean, the weird corners of the earth. But he always made it back to those games. Every Friday night, have no fear, he was always there. And I don't think in 30 years, I don't think I ever heard him mispronounce the last name. So a true testament to his craft and his dedication to the job. Even long after his kids had graduated from St. Anthony, Rick continued to serve, spending every fall night with us as a fixture at Benson Field. One of the last times I saw Rick was, I'll say it was at a bar close by after a football game. I was going to say library, but no one would believe that. Matt, I think you were there as well. And I remember talking to Rick a little bit, and he was looking a little bit weak, and he said, Andrew, I've been doing this now for 30-some years. I'm getting really tired. I don't know how much longer I can do this. I don't know. I think I may only have maybe 1 or maybe 2 good more decades. But that was Rick. He was a disciple of service, a tireless student, a caring father, and a pillar of this community. As I was driving here tonight, I was going through my memories of my own time at St. Anthony Village playing football. And one peculiar memory that always stuck out to me was that every game, must have been for 25 years, Rick always played the same song when the game was over. It didn't matter if we lost, we won, we got blown out, we won by a lot, it didn't matter. It was Standing Outside the Fire by Garth Brooks. I didn't realize why he played that, but until long after, it really occurred to me why. If you listen to the lyrics, it's so good. And so life is not tried, it is merely survived if you standing outside the fire. my message tonight, and I think the message for a cat for everyone is don't stand outside the fire. Go headlong into it and be a service.
Thanks, Andrew. We are so honored to induct Rick into the Hall of Fame. His contributions and his voice will be remembered forever. I am proud to present Rick's family, his wife Linda, sons Matt and Paul, to accept the award in Rick's honor. Eric Brewer created a carved plaque which has Rick on it.
All right, before I begin, tonight was a good lesson on sociology I got to share real quick. Paul and I have a rule, we're never in the same room together with strangers. Okay? So let's clear up a couple of things. I'm somewhere between 6'8" and 6'9". Paul's somewhere between 6'10" and 6'11". Yes, that is our actual height. Now you know, we did play basketball, he was the only one who was good at it. So, that's cleared up. On behalf of Rick's wife and my mom, Linda, along with my brother Paul and our sister Katie, who can't be here tonight. She's on an airplane trying to get back from California, and they're half an hour late, and I would imagine I would not want to be the people sitting next to her on that plane because they're running a half an hour late. I honestly can't stop smiling tonight just from the number of congratulations, the number of handshakes that we received, but also because, being perfectly honest, tonight, Dad's worst nightmare. Everyone saying nice things about him, everyone congratulating him, shaking his hand. He never wanted that. Everything that he did was meant to be in the background. It was meant to be heard, not seen. At least as it related to his service to the school, and he was really good at it. To Dr. Cornet, Principal Bell, Dr. Erdahl, who I noticed skipped out right before this thing for Dad. We'll have to talk about that. Yeah. The St. Anthony Alumni Association, the Hall of Fame Committee, thank you for this for Dad. To know the name Munchow is going to be on a wall in the school is pretty remarkable. To Dad's fellow inductees, Mr. Wilson, holy crap. I'm not going to lie, your daughter's introduction, I picked up every third word, I think. There were some big words in there, but it sounded remarkably important and good, and congratulations for you. That is, forget 39 years, Dave, I need another 50 to match what he did. So, Coach Bradley, sharing your love of sarcasm, looking at your pictures, you crushed the 80s. Visor with the collar tucked out of the windbreaker. Whoa. But in all seriousness, you took two young men in Paul and I. One who was willing to receive coaching, one not so much. One who was popular in school, one who was not. One who was great at basketball, and one who was whatever the opposite of that is. But more importantly, it made them both feel like part of the team. And I remember that, and even for me personally, on a personal note, I remember the day that you gave me a varsity jersey. And that's a memory that's ingrained in my head, and so for everything that you said about Mr. Gauchi, know that applies to you as well for many, many kids. Dr. Abrahamson, from 1986 to 1995, you and an amazing staff of educators helped to raise and bring up 3 Munchow kids through Wilshire Park. And I'm blown away how many are here tonight. Do you know Jan Gordon's here tonight? Kindergarten teacher. So I was blown away to say that, along with Mrs. Eastman and others. It's just amazing that you guys are here. You guys taught us all many lessons in our time at Wilshire Park. Many of them we hold true today. I wish the academic lesson had caught harder with Paul and I. But the good news is it caught with Katie, so we're batting 300, we're good. Things are good. The title of the group Dad joins tonight really, I think, describes it perfectly: service to the community. In the introduction of Mary and Andrew, thank you for those nice words, as well as you, Mary. You heard so much of what he did, but I kind of want to take you behind the scenes just a little bit for a minute, because there was even so much more. Through the 90s and 2000s, along with clearing his own driveway during the winter on 36th Avenue, Dad would do 3 more for our immediate neighbors because they were senior citizens. Didn't have to be asked, just did it. Along with that, he would volunteer at the state fair selling tickets, which at the time was a fundraiser for the band, I believe. I haven't been to the fair in 27 years, but I remember how small those booths are. And I remember how big Dad was, and it doesn't quite register, but he did, because there was a need for him to do it. Back in our time at Wilshire Park, we had many carnivals, the pie carnivals, walk around in a circle, get a pie, or the book fairs, or many of those memories. Dad would always, without asking, stay after and help fold up chairs and tables. He didn't want the custodians to have to do it on their own. And that's really, when you think about service to community, I think that's what I think about. Obviously, his most outward service to the community was the voice of the Huskies. To Andrew's point, I don't think I'll ever not be able to hear, "Good evening, St. Anthony Village High School welcomes you to Denison Field in tonight's Tri-Metro Conference matchup." Those voices, that voice, the sound it made over the speakers is in my brain forever. And to echo what Andrew said, I don't know if I ever truly realized just how much it meant to the kids who had their names said. And I should have, because it was that important to Paul, Katie, and I as well. The first time, a vivid memory for Paul, the first time Paul Munchow with the tackle in his first varsity football game. We had heard it for 10 years, waiting to get to the varsity team, and there it happened. We're starting at center, a 6'10 junior, whatever, Paul Munchow. Or for Katie, starting at guard for the Huskies, Katie Munchow. Know whatever it meant to the other students, many of whom are here tonight. I'm blown away how many former students I've seen here tonight. Know that what it meant to you, it meant to us as well. What you also didn't see with Dad is what went into his announcing. And I think it speaks to really who he was. He would arrive at every single football game an hour early. He had to get settled, he had to get his programs, he had to get his water, and then he had to get the starting lineups. And after he would get the starting lineups, especially from the visiting team, he wouldn't just go back to the booth, he didn't know how to pronounce the names. So he would walk over to the sideline, did not wanting to bother the head coach any longer, and he would ask a cheerleader, a student manager, or just a student on the sidelines, "Can you help me with how to say these names?" Every name had to be right. Okay? And that applied to St. Anthony kids too. It was, Dad enjoyed when parents would come up to him, and especially in the later years, and would say, "Oh, this is how you say our last name." He felt terrible because his kids had been graduated for so long, gone for so long, he didn't know the families anymore, but he was so happy somebody told him, so he could make sure that it was right going forward. If somebody was not in the program, he would, at halftime, go down and ask a coach, because they're not doing anything at halftime. He would go down and ask a coach, "Number 18's not in the program. Who's number 18? Because he had to know. Because every student name had to be told. I don't know. I had the pleasure of sitting next to him for 15 years up in the football press box, running the scoreboard, which was an experience of in itself, to be honest with you, because while he loved the football games, while he loved the football teams, it was run the ball, keep that clock moving, let's go, keep that clock, why are they passing? God, it's clock stopped again. Dad, it's so frustrating, why are we doing this? I don't know, And every year, every August, it was the same conversation. "Dad, are we doing this again?" "No, I don't think we should. It's time for somebody else to take over." And this is where I'm upset Dr. Erdahl left, because I wanted the answer to the question, did he truly never ask anybody else? Or did he truly ask and people just said no? That's fine, I'll corner him later. But he loved it. He loved every minute of it. He would be so proud of this. And it wasn't just athletes. It wasn't just other things. Homecoming tonight, the announcing tonight. When they would introduce the court at homecoming, Dad, he would always grab a student and say, stand right here. And a student would have to stand right behind him because Dad had to know how to say their names, because he didn't know the family. So all the high school students who probably thought Dad was confused why they needed a student there, thank you to them. To the kids who sang the national anthem in the choir, I wish you guys could have seen it. When they would come up, he would introduce himself, he would shake their hand. He would ask what grade they were in and how to pronounce their name. He would then introduce them, show them how to turn the microphone on and off. And the best part was when they were done, giving him the biggest high five you had ever seen. And a congratulations, we'll see you again soon. He was always so proud of everything related to St. Anthony. He was so proud of being a part of this community. I'll go on and on. You guys can't see the giant red clock I'm staring at, so I know there's a football game coming up, and we have another inductee who's very deserves his time as well. So I'll end with saying thank you for everybody. On behalf of my mom Linda, my brother Paul, my sister Katie, who is hopefully on descent or getting close to landing. Thank you to all who made this night possible. We really appreciate it, and thank you for remembering Dad. Have a good night.
Thank you, and congratulations. Our final inductee is Dr. David Abrahamson. Here to introduce him, to start the introductions, is his longtime colleague, Bonnie Brewer.
Thank you, Mary. Congratulations, Dave and John and Linda and Matt and Paul. Dave Abrahamson is a legend. Let me tell you why. He is a graduate of John Marshall High School and attended the University of Minnesota, studied metallurgical engineering, elementary ed, and administration. He spent most of his career in St. Anthony Village, serving first as a 4th grade teacher, then as an elementary school principal. After spending 10 plus years as the principal of Silver Oak Elementary School, the school closed due to declining enrollment. The teachers, staff, and principal relocated to Wilshire Park Elementary, where he continued his role as principal until his retirement in 1996. Every student was valued by Dr. A. During the first weeks of kindergarten, when parents are worried about whether their kindergarten children will return home at the right time and at the right stop, Dave was there to make sure that trip home was successful. He rode the bus for the first couple of weeks, but with the kindergartners, both sessions, morning and afternoon. And all that anxiety was much lessened by the students and the parents, and I can attest to that. Thank you for that, Dave. Most recently, Dave told me, you know, years ago, the primary goal was the kids, always. We didn't need pats on the back because we knew if it was good for the kids, it was a good thing to do. We didn't need the media highlighting this and that for what they believed was a new initiative. We knew it was a great opportunity. Speaking of new initiatives, at a time when full-day kindergarten was being studied, Dave began a program called Junior First Grade, where kindergartners not quite ready for first grade had a full-day option to repeat a kindergarten year. Dave was instrumental in implementing this and various other programs at Wilshire Park for students, including mock trial, junior grade books, humanities, gifted and talented opportunities, Saturday science with Bethel students, ALAFA, extended learning, a family affair, where he worked for a whole month. We had weekly dinner and programs for the families. And those programs involved allowing families to learn crafts, computer skills, dances, music appreciation, and so much more. All those programs were designed to provide educational enrichment for the students and their families. As a member of the staff, Dave ensured that all employees at Wilshire Park were a part of a bigger team. It didn't matter if you were a teacher, a specialist, a para, a custodian, or a playground supervisor. You were valued for the work you did. And Dave made sure everyone was respected and supported. He would never ask anyone to do a job he wouldn't do. In fact, during construction projects, he was the first to lift the shovel to assist. And he was known to don that Wilshire Park panda costume and make cameo appearances at Wilshire Park events and celebrations. It was all for the kids. And in December, he and his wonderful wife, June, would prepare and serve a wonderful lunch for the entire staff in Wilshire Park. It was always a highlight for all of us. And I know many of the staff who gave me some memories also, that was one of the highlights. It was wonderful. I think the recipes were always shared and we served it later. Dave's work extended far beyond St. Anthony Village. He worked with St. Mary's College in South Minneapolis to bring in additional experiences for all students. He was on the University of Minnesota Alumni Board and served as president. As a media specialist at Osseo Schools, he was instrumental in the first closed circuit TV system in a school district. He was active in school accreditation through work with the North Central Association, serving in various roles, including consultant, evaluator, board member, and assistant chair for elementary schools. He received a WCCO TV CBS television network citation for his participation in its television reading program. He worked on local and statewide acceptance of open enrollment and increased diversity in the schools with the West Metro Elementary and Principals Association and the State Department of Education. He served on a school board and a nursing home board. He served as chairman of a 3-state elementary school evaluation board. He worked with the St. Anthony Sister City Association and was very active in the Kiwanis program. The same year he received his doctorate of education, Dave was honored with the Minnesota Elementary Principals Association Distinguished Service Award. He was later recognized by that organization again with the Outstanding Educator Award. Governor Arne Carlson declared May 29, 1996 to be David K. Abrahamson Day. Throughout his career, Dave never failed to give credit to his late wife, June, for her support and encouragement in his life's work, as well as the pride he took in his 4 children and grandchildren. You can see that Dave is a gentle, humble man who appreciated every person for who they are. He did so by displaying respect, encouraging accountability, simple caring, developing and assisting new classroom teachers, encouraging creativity and ingenuity, welcoming classroom volunteers, and appreciating all students, all staff, and all parents. Some of his former colleagues have shared some of their memories, and I'm going to bring up Dr. Merriweather to share those with you.
Thank you, Bonnie. It's fun to be back in an evening like this on the stage, which I was on a few times myself a while ago, and to honor my favorite, and I mean this truly, my very favorite principal in my entire career as an educator, and that's Dr. Dave Abramson. You heard what Bonnie said. I want to ask him what he did in his free time. He just kept running. I have wonderful memories of him, and I sent one in to Bonnie, and then I decided that rather than go to the Guthrie tonight, it would be much more fun to be here. So, Dave, this is for you. Jane Lenz said, Dave consistently approached innovation with positivity, such as promoting distance learning way before it was common. He had 2-way interactive TV classes with Wilshire Park and students in Mounds View and Roseville. And I remember those Spanish language classes well, because we would have an administrator in each of the rooms just to make sure we supposedly could fix something if something went wrong, which wasn't true, but it looked good. Dave was a big supporter of the West Metro education program as well as the downtown and fair schools. She says, I will always remember him for the wonderful lunches he and his beautiful wife June provided every year for all of the Wilshire Park staff. There you go. What was your favorite recipe? What did you like to serve the best?
I think it was a lasagna dinner.
A lasagna dinner. How many remember a lasagna dinner? Okay, good. You know where to get the recipe. A mom of a former student of Dave's also mentioned that Dave was such a support for her when she was contemplating retaining her child in 2nd grade for a 2nd year. All of the studies that shown that you shouldn't do that. It wasn't as good as they thought it might be for the child. But Dave supported the mom and said, quote, you're the mother, you know best. And today that student feels it was the best decision for him and the mom still appreciates your support, Dave. I'm gonna wait for my comments till later. I'll put these in a different order. Another note from a mom of 3 former Wilshire Park students. Our 3 children began attending Wilshire in the fall of 1985. And from that time on, whenever we ran into Dave, he would always say, how are your kids? And he mentioned them by name. Remembering their names shows genuine love and interest in all of the students, and he did it for nearly 40 years. Your note says 40 decades, but I don't think Dave is quite that old. We may feel that way, but I don't think we are. We are very grateful to have Dave, along with his wonderful staff, overseeing the education of our children in their elementary years. And from Andrea Wyatt, Dave was the sub-caller. Teachers called his home phone if they were sick and needed a sub. Sometimes the calls were made in the wee hours of the morning, awakening from slumber. He would then call our sub. However, what made that call so very hard was that Dave was never sick himself, so it made it very difficult to say, I'm sick, please call us up. She says, did you know that Dave would bargain hunt for textbooks, and he saved so much money for 282, District 282, with this practice. Dave and his wife June and the Abramson family put on a yearly lunch for the entire staff at the Media Center Library. It was always so good. Another comment, Dave was in charge of transportation, ordering buses, and created the bus roads. He wore so many hats and put in so many hours. I want to say, as superintendent at the time, we let Dave make the decision as to whether or not school was closed because of bad weather. I was very thankful that Dave did this because it's not a fun decision, is it? He's got an opportunity to reassume the job. We'll see what happens. I shared a memory about Dave that he and I were co-principals, and there was some sort of silly myth that the elementary school principal wasn't as important as the middle school or high school principal. And I saw that, and I saw how very hard he worked for Wilshire Park. And I saw that when we would have administrative meetings, we'd have the 3 principals, the superintendent, whether it was Arnie Ness before me or myself when I became super. Dave was very articulate and would not give up. If he had an idea about something that would benefit Wilshire Park, he went for it. And the good thing was he most often got it, so that was good. No other principal I ever met was a greater advocate and champion for his elementary school family. Thank you, David. It was a pleasure to work with you.
Thank you both. Introducing Dr. Dave.
Thank you, Crystal. I really value all of the staff over the years that I've been associated with at St. Anthony. After 31 years, I see some of the honor roll people that have grown up, and I think I have too. But anyway, it's a joy to hear the names of high school teachers that I valued so much too, and often even visited some high school teachers teaching and saw the quality of instruction that they did. So it's been an honor to be associated. And I want to thank the committee for this award. I'm honored to be selected to be the 282 Hall of Fame. But before I make any further comments, I must add that an award like this would never be possible without the incredible educational support and teamwork of the St. Anthony staff that I worked with, the parents and the superintendents that I've been fortunate to work for, and one I can't forget, a wonderful school secretary and my secretary for 25 years, Margaret Fishback. Because if it wasn't for a good school secretary, the principal would never be able to do many activities that they wanted to do. Well, I'll quickly just go over some of my career, and all of my career added techniques or skills that made me maybe more effective as I was at Silver Oak and Wilshire Park. I began my teaching degree, as it was said, in 1964, teaching 4th grade at what we called the Bastille. Now, maybe some of you don't remember the 4-classroom building on 33rd and Silver Lake Road. That's where I started my teaching in '64. And it was interesting to be there. We got a chance to cross the street in the middle of the winter for band and music and lunch. And but every spring we had a swimming pool in the basement. I never had a chance to go swimming there. So, and then after 2 years teaching at the Bastille, I decided to take a leave of absence from St. Anthony and go back to the University of Minnesota to complete a master's degree. And when I was at the master's degree, working on the degree, I was also able to work as a professor's assistant in the School of Education, specializing in media services and instruction. And after that, from 1986 to '68, I worked in the Osseo School District because when I finished the master's degree at the university, I was invited to take a position with the Osseo School District as a media coordinator. And we were in the cutting edge at that school district where we started our own TV station for the district. And every district was wired so we could communicate to every elementary and high school in the whole district. And then I came back to St. Anthony in 1968 as a principal of Silver Oak. And I really enjoyed being on the north end of the district. It was actually in New Brighton. And, but it was associated, of course, with the St. Anthony School District. And I had an exceptional experience there. And then we closed it because of lack of enrollment in those days that we were having. And at the end of the 76-70 school district, we closed it. And I became the principal at Wilshire Park. Because of the support of the Wilshire Park staff, we were able to develop cutting-edge educational programs that included grants from the Medtronic Foundation, creating a partnership with Bethel and Bethel College and also Northwestern in St. Paul. And they provided the time and the energy, and our staff came to teach on Saturday science. And that gave the parents a chance to have a Saturday morning to drop their kids off and get extra science instruction and complete the task maybe on a Saturday. And also at Wilshire, we were on the cutting edge that we started the first TV program between Moundsville Elementary School and St. Anthony. So that worked out very well too. While serving at Wilshire Park, I was able to finish my educational doctorate program at the University of Minnesota. I never would have been able to complete that without the support and encouragement of my lovely wife, June, and my entire wonderful family. And I'm proud to say out of my 4 kids, all 4 of them were educators. And my son even retired as an elementary school in Bloomington. So I guess I left him a good idea of what we should be doing to helping kids and help him get a wonderful education. And again, I want to thank you for this award. I am proud to say that St. Anthony Schools will always have a special heart in my life. And I want to say a big thank you to the teaching staff that was so wonderful to work with, that are here, parents of both Silver Oak and Worcester Park that are here. And again, I want to say a big thank you for being such a big support to educators in this district and the quality of instruction that I know has gone on through the years and still is. So thank you.
We also have a beautiful plaque, but I'll give it to him after. Well, this does conclude our ceremony. We are deeply grateful that all you came. It is so neat to see all of you. There's so many people here that we haven't seen in a long time. Boy, this has been an amazing program. So amazing that we no longer have time for a school tour. So, or come next year, because now that you know how wonderful these programs are, you can come over here. So, we however do have time to get down to the Vikings game, homecoming game, where our alumni inductees will be introduced on the field during halftime. So thanks again for coming. We really appreciate you being here. Congratulations to everyone. Thank you for everyone who's here, including the fantastic introducers. And go Huskies.